Live.
There we are.
Woo! We're
I think we're
live.
live.
First YouTube
Thanks.
live. Second official.
Second YouTube live. There we are. Okay, now I see us. We never know when we're going live, and
Nope.
sometimes we're talking shit to each other, so it's good to know.
5 years later, after we've been doing this, still there's always some technical glitch.
Always. Hello, YouTube fam. Like we promised, we wanted to carve out some time to do a YouTube live for you all because we've been getting all these dating questions, conundrums in, and we can't answer all of them one at a time. So we thought we'd just answer them on a live stream. And then you all have the chance to interact with us and ask any questions you want in the chat.
Love it. This is always so fun.
And then you know us. I mean, in case you don't know us, I'm UA.
And I'm Julie. Yeah, I was just thinking, I'm like, should we do an intro? You never know.
You never know these days.
Maybe
But
someone just stumbled upon this and they had a burning dating question. So,
it's true. It's true. So, welcome if you are new to our channel, and thanks for staying with us. If you're one of our
oh,
OG
geez.
followers, I guess you could call it. I love that our YouTube channel has grown so much and seen such an evolution. So, thank you all for being along for the ride. But I will say, fuck all those comments, those spam comments. What the hell?
The
Why
Tropicana method. That's like the number
Why are
one.
they right? Why are people doing this? Do they
I
actually
don't
work? Do
know.
you guys actually click on these comments?
There's so much spam on YouTube. It's out of control.
Out of
But
control.
some of you
So,
have been with UA's channel since Singlified days, Miss Singlified. So hopefully you're on this evolution with us and you are now dateable yourselves.
and those of you who've been with me since the single fi days, are probably now in your 30s, which is crazy because back then you were like, late teens, early 20s when we started this. So you're all grown
Grown
ass
up.
people now with grown ass questions.
Yep, ready for 2.0.
Yes, and we're ready to get into some of the questions. Might as well. We're just going to fire away. We'll start with this first one that we received by someone who said, I can't seem to get past the third date. What am I
Mm,
doing wrong?
well, I think actually we've learned that the number one reason that people don't want to go on another date, especially when it gets to the level that you've gone on 2 or 3 dates, isn't what you think it would be. I think people always go to it's attraction. They're not attracted. That's why it didn't end, or that's why it ended. And the
Hmm.
reality is if you've got into 3 dates, they're probably attracted enough. What we hear is the reason is that there is not an emotional connection, that you have not gotten past the date talk, the basics that kind of like, it was okay for date 1 and 2, but then by date 3, people wanted to get to know the real you and they weren't seeing it.
Yes. And let's not put numbers around dates anymore. Let's get away from
Mhm.
that because 3 dates can mean very different things. It could be
Right.
3 coffee meetups, it could be 3 hangout sessions, it could be 3 5 to 8 hour, intense, intimate dates. We don't know. So instead of thinking I can get past a third date, think about what is the connection level that you can't
Yes.
get past. Is it that we can have the physical chemistry and intimacy, but we can't seem to get to the meeting friends or meeting outside. We keep meeting like indoors in our own homes, or is it getting to that level of like wanting more intimacy or wanting more
Mhm.
connection? So let's think about that. And so, what is the need here? And put less pressure on yourself. Don't think about I can't get past the 3 dates because it is one of those things. If you keep thinking that, it's going to be true, and then every
Right.
future date you go on, by the third date you're going to be like, oh, I won't get past this one. Don't think that way. Think about what is it you're trying to progress towards. So every date
Mhm.
should be progress of some sort, and just think I want to progress more towards more intimacy, more connection, more activities.
I would also take inventory of what you're talking about on these dates. Does it tend to be stuff that they could probably view on your LinkedIn or your
Mm,
Facebook account? Like, I've heard stories of people that said, this person just talked about their job for the entire date.
yes,
And
yes.
at that point, you don't really know who they are, like what makes them tick, what is that deeper bonds. So I think that's step one is like, what is it that you're actually talking about, and how can you go a level deeper, especially
Mm,
as things progress. The other piece, too, is are you still coming in as two people, like individuals? Are you starting to form more of a unit? I think that's where emotional connection really happens. Like if it's just you meeting up with a person to go to a bar and this keeps happening, it's like you come from this part of town, they come from this part of town, you meet in the middle. It feels very disjointed. I think like a quick hack, and of course this is when you get to the point that you're comfortable like having this person at your house, but maybe it's suggesting, hey, would you want to come over for some like wine and cheese first before we go to dinner? So
mm.
then there's the act of you two going to dinner together, and it's a very subliminal shift, but it starts to make you two be a unit, and that builds that emotional intimacy over this is just some casual person. Maybe I met them off the internet.
Right, exactly. Is it just keeping things non-casual would be a good way to think about this. I really don't like the whole, do you want to hang out Saturday?
Hmm.
Well, if you put it in that context, then whoever you're talking to is going to be like, I guess we're just hanging out.
Right.
This is not progress. It's just chilling, straight up chilling.
Yes, definitely take inventory on your conversations, whether that's the topics or even just your messages setting updates.
Yes. And next question, Julie, do you have one?
I do. We got this question that came in that I'm going to summarize because I feel like there were a bunch of questions in this realm. It's basically the age all how do I get out of the friend zone?
Oh, yes. Getting out of the friend zone is, I guess it's been going on for centuries. People want to get out of the friend zone. I think what happens a lot of the times that I've seen with people who get immediately friend zoned is that they don't make an effort in the
Mhm.
beginning to be anything but friends. So that's the vibe you're already putting out there. If you want something romantic, you have to take control of the situation and ask someone out or
Mhm.
compliment them or make some gesture or comment that shows that you're not just friends. What happens in the friend zone is that we are so fearful of rejection that we retreat to the safe category of friends. Hey, do you want to hang out on Friday? Do you want to meet up with some of my friends? That doesn't denote
No.
relationship at all. It just means you're filling time with someone. So you have to make it very clear from the beginning that this is not just a friendship.
Totally. I think that is a huge piece of making your intentions known, but also there's a certain charisma that I think sometimes like the friend zone kind of represents this feeling of being rejected, whether it's by someone that, is an actual friend, but oftentimes it's someone that you're interested in, that you're kind of using that as a way to get in with them opposed to actually being friends, and then it just progresses into more. So I think sometimes like Yue was saying, it's a way to hide a bit, and I think the more we hide, the less seen we are, and that radiates our energy in dating in general. So I
Hmm.
think some of it is that quiet confidence is lacking at the end of the day. And it's like, how do you
Hmm.
build that quiet confidence? And that doesn't mean that if you're like a quieter person, you have to just become like naturally loud and outgoing and all that. It definitely doesn't need to mean that. In fact, the most confident and sexy and attractive people have this more, subliminal confidence that's coming through. And I think
Hmm.
working on that is huge to move out of the friend zone because you're not even thinking about being in the friend zone in the first place. Like your mindset has shifted away from that mentality to start with. It's more just I was friends and it progressed to more, or I went after someone I was interested in.
That quiet confidence is so damn sexy. I'm not gonna lie. It's so damn sexy. And if you
Mhm.
stay to the end of this live, we'll tell you exactly what our announcement is, which will help you build that quiet confidence. But you have to stay till the
Absolutely.
end.
Absolutely. I think a lot of the stuff we've been throwing around too, like I feel like people hear, oh, there's no emotional connection, but what does that actually mean? Some
Yeah.
of this stuff you really have to distill. What is it that you can take action and move forward? So we have a very exciting announcement where we'll get to the bottom of all this.
Yes, we're going to get to the bottom of it all. Moving on to the next question is, let me just pull up here. Why does it seem like everyone that I like doesn't like me
Whew.
back? It sure seems that way sometimes, right?
Well, there is a stat that people like go for people that are like again, quote unquote, like 25% more attractive than them. Like there
Mm.
is like there's been studies that have shown that the methodology of that study, I'm not 100% sure of how that was done, but there was a lot of studies that pointed to, especially on apps, people kind of up level, they over index their own attractiveness level and maybe under index others.
So that could be one way to think about this for sure. We like to see what's out of our league and see if we can get that. But it also goes into this point of it's not that we're trying, it's not that you're getting people you like not liking you back. It's just that you are not successful at getting people to like you back.
Mhm.
And that's different. You're trying to win people's affections
Mm,
when at the end of the day, you have to question, do I even like this person, or am I just trying to get someone,
right.
let's say, out of my league, or I'm trying to get someone to prove something to myself? So what we've heard from so many of the daters we've spoken to is that we ask the question, do you even like this person? And they go, I think so. It's not a definitive yes because they're more concerned with winning that person's affections back.
Mhm. Well, I think the 25% over stat is interesting to me because it means that people are focusing on maybe the wrong things.
Yep.
And we know that apps are, I think apps are a great way to meet people. I've met my partner on apps. I'm very pro apps, but we've even talked to a behavioral scientist that works at an app. And in the design, by design, you're focused on specific qualities. You can't tell how sincere someone is or how honest they are or how like good of a person they are. You just can't get that from a profile. So therefore your brain goes to the other factors that are
Hmm.
more potentially don't necessarily matter as much. I mean, we you all have to be attracted to your partner, but at the end of the day it's all about the whole picture. It's not about one specific category and attribute and all of that. So I think there is that piece that maybe you need to relook at like what qualities really matter when it comes to finding your person. Like we had someone in our Facebook group the other day. She's happily married, been with her partner for 8 years. She said after her divorce, she wanted someone that was a homeowner that had this trait and that trait, and basically her current partner had none of those traits. And she is like, I it's not that I've sacrificed. I've realized that someone that makes time for me, that someone that is an honest, hardworking person, like those are qualities that matter more than the qualities I was saying before that were more superficial.
Yes. Yes. And then we have a question from the audience, if you
Oh,
want to take this one.
yay.
This one's
Let's
from
do it.
DeMarco. Says what this is kind of related to the friend zone one. How about the situation of a real close friend that has romantic feelings for you, but don't want to ruin the friendship, but also
Mm.
won't let you see someone else if you're just friends?
Ooh.
Sounds selfish to me. That just does not
Wait.
sound like a good friend.
So this is someone that doesn't want to date you, but doesn't want you to date other people?
Right. Yeah.
That's not fair.
That's not fair at all.
They
I don't
want their
understand
cake
how.
and eat it too. That's no good.
No, that doesn't even sound like a baseline good friend. It just sounds like a selfish person who wants the
Attention.
attention. Yep. Who wants the validation and using you for that attention and validation without taking into account your own personal interests and feelings.
Yeah, I mean, I would, if they are a true friend, you should be able to have an honest conversation with them and be
Yeah.
like, hey, like, I value our friendship, but you're basically telling me you don't want to date me. So therefore, I need to find someone else to date. Like, what is, Like that they should understand that if they are a true friend and have your happiness in mind.
And DeMarco says they friend zoned you first, which is even worse. This person is a roller coaster of emotions and they can't seem to make up their mind, but they do know they only want you for themselves. This
Mhm.
just doesn't sound like a stable person. I hate to say it, I haven't met this person, but it just sounds like someone who's still lost and trying to find stability in their life, and you can't be the roadkill of the
No,
situation. You got your own life to live and you got to look out for yourself.
absolutely.
Here's another question from the heebie jeebie. How long should the back and forth on an app be before a video or phone chat, or
Ooh,
what should it consist of?
we love this
This is a great
question.
question.
So, we are all about moving this as fast as possible off the apps. Everything is about that timeline. So, I'm gonna back up a second. You don't the first text that you send on the app, it shouldn't be like, "Can we do video?" or "Can we meet up?" We need to warm up a little. We have like a general rule of thumb, and this can be give or take a bit, but exchanging at least 3 basic things with that person. These can be like things that you're digging into a little more on the profile, like, "Oh, I saw that you went here," or "You grew up here," like, or "What did what do you tell me more about your job?" Things that are basically on the profile, the small talk. Let's get that out of the way ASAP so we establish some sort of connection so it's not just like a cold entrance, but then we don't stay in that zone forever. So after you've kind of established some back and forth, people are responding at a fairly fast rate. This is ideally all happening within the same night. I think the best way to do it next is to move it to text message. One thing could just be like, "Hey, this app is a little hard to text on. Like, would you mind if like I gave you my number?" Like it could be like, using whatever you have at your disposal to move it to that next place. Any progression makes it feel like progression. And then
Hmm.
as you're talking on text, another one that I would throw out a lot is like, this is such a fun story. Like, there's so much to talk about. I would so much rather like tell you on the phone or video. Like, would you be down to do a video date?
Hmm.
So it's moving it along essentially.
Lead with your own curiosity. If you get to a point from the texting back and forth and you say, I'm so curious what this person sounds like. I'm so
Yeah.
curious what this person's vibe is like. Why even wait? You should be honest and authentic in that. Say, I've had such a great conversation with you over text. I'm so curious what you're like, what your voice is like, what you sound like.
Mhm.
Would you want to get on a phone call and chat for a little bit? I think something like that is non-intimidating.
No.
There's no commitment really at all. It's just more like, do you let's just chat. But also it moves things along, like Julie's saying.
Mhm.
This progression is really important. If you like to put some sort of rules around it, we always like to go by the once you learn 3 things about someone over text, it's time to take it to that next platform,
Yeah.
whatever that may be. And the 3 things you learn from that person shouldn't be like where they live, what their job is, what their first name is. Like, those are not 3 things you've learned. 3 things that you learned without 3 things you learned through text that you wouldn't have
Mhm.
learned otherwise. Through your conversations, was this something like you found out where they grew up? You found out
Mhm.
that they really like ice cream. You found out that they have a really close relationship with their brother. Something that has a little bit more depth.
Right, because it is very intimidating if someone's just like, "Hey, do you wanna meet up?" or "Do you wanna get on a video call?" and that's the first message. So there
Hmm.
is a little bit of an artful balance, and I think today's day and age too, it can't just be like, "Let's meet up." I think giving the option of a video or phone call or meeting up, like, you could be like, let's say you were just really driving off text, I think it's okay to say like, "Hey, I'd love to meet up in person, but if you're
Yeah.
more comfortable doing a video or a phone call first, we could also do that." Giving an out to them to also assess their own comfort.
There are a lot of texting. I don't even know what texting vampires out there who just sucks all the texting energy out of you,
Oh
but
my
then they have
God.
no intentions of meeting up with you in real life. So, heebie jeebie, this is actually related to your next question. Am I wrong for ghosting on an app when initial back and forth from the guy is super dull? They don't ask any questions
No.
back, just answer your questions and don't ask one back.
No, we are going to talk all about this, but the best filtering system in dating apps is not the profile, it's the conversation. That is 100%. You have seen something right there,
Hmm.
and you've learned that is a data point for you. And I don't think there's anything wrong with exiting out of this convo. UA and I actually looked up the true definition of ghosting
Yeah.
the other day, and it's an intimate relationship. So, someone that you had some back and forth that wasn't asking you any questions, I don't even believe that would qualify. So, I don't even think you ghosted. I think you just realized that this was a dead end conversation and you moved on.
You filtered that
Hmm.
interaction. That's what that is. You just screened them. That's
Yep.
all. Good for you. You should always be
Yes.
doing that.
And anything that's going on more than a day, if things aren't progressing, or at least like I would say 24 hours max, if things are just lingering and people are not moving to the next phase, and that's not you waiting for them, like you're kind of throwing them a ball to do it. If they're not receptive to that, it's time to also filter them out.
Yes. Yes. That's a mic drop right there. Think about that. Um, I can go back to an audience question, or Julie, do you want to pull up one of yours?
Let's do one more audience one.
Okay, so this one's DeMarco's back. So he
Yay!
wants to elaborate on the fact that this person who ghosted him, or not ghosted him, who friend zoned him and then showed romantic interest, but then doesn't want to date him, but also doesn't want him to date anybody else. No longer, so I no longer speak to this person, but they periodically try and get in touch with me after I cut communications. I've taken them back multiple times. I've taken her back multiple times about her being sorry only to do it again. It just seems pointless. Like, why come back only to do it again? Seems like she didn't care just to have easy access to someone. Okay, so this is a different person. Sorry. Sorry. Thanks for clarifying, DeMarco. Different person. Same fucking situation. Sorry. Excuse
Yes.
my language. Still, that roller coaster behavior is not something that I stand for. Julie doesn't stand for. You
No.
shouldn't stand for it either. You are not someone who is at the disposal of someone else. Like, you have your own life to live. Why does the universe center around someone else? If they choose to come back into your life and prove that they're here to
Mhm.
stay, then that is up to them to do. But it is not your job to rescue them or to make these excuses for them. That's not your job.
No, this is a just like we were just talking about bad conversation being a filtering system. This is also a filtering system. This person is, I think, what you did and giving them the benefit of the doubt one time, it makes total sense. But
Hmm.
when they keep doing it over and over again, at that point, like you do need to kind of shift the focus back to yourself of finding people that aren't going to do this or looking inwards of like what is it that's attracting this person that is treating me this way. So I think ultimately for you it's not feeling guilty. And I totally have been there also. Sometimes it's hard not to feel guilty, especially if there's a friendship involved. But the reality is, this person is holding you back from meeting someone amazing that's not going to do this to you. So sometimes you have to put yourself first and set that boundary.
And we really got to observe people's actions. What they do speaks volumes, and what they say may not mean anything at all. It could just be words. People have a way of manipulating their own mind and their own words to
Yeah.
make you understand or believe something. And it may not mean anything to this person. Like, there are
Hmm.
people who just are delusional and they live in that reality, but you don't have to live in that reality with them. Take control of your life and take control of your own confidence and know that nobody else has control over that. Don't let someone
Yeah.
like just throw you around like this.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is we never know what's going on for anyone. So this person probably isn't a bad person. They probably have their own things that they're working through also. But I think at the end of the day, like they've kind of shown you that this is essentially isn't your responsibility to take on. Your responsibility is to find yourself someone that won't treat you this way.
Absolutely. And it is up to you. We're not blaming this on the other person. You have to take control. And if you are experiencing any sort of negative setback from this, you did it to yourself because you let it happen, right? So take control of that. You can't control other people's actions, but you can control your own. So I hope that's an empowering thought for you. We have time for one other question. This is sort of related. Do you need to have sex first in order to have the DTR conversation?
No. I think everyone is different. Every couple is different. It's up to you and what your comfort level is. There's many people out there that only want to have sex with someone they're monogamous with, and they've defined that they are a couple or they're exclusive or whatever it is that they're defining. So I don't think that you ever need to do anything. Like, there should not be any shoulds. It's what works for you in this partner.
And by virtue of that question, it sounds like you're under pressure or you felt that pressure somehow. Don't let that happen to you. That's your body, your choice. Don't let some timeline or the shoulds and woulds control that. That is not anybody else's except for yours. Another thing to think about is to get to DTR, why do you have to do anything to get to DTR? There's
No.
nothing you need to. This is a conversation between you and your potential partner. So there is no set rules. There is no shoulds of what you must check off before you get to DTR. If you want to have that conversation, you have it. You just have it. And that's also very related to our big announcement. The DTR conversation is one of the most asked about things from our podcast listeners and from our community. So we are very excited to announce something to you all here on YouTube live. I think we've been live because we've been chatting with real people. I hope you all aren't bots. That would be so crazy. But we are launching, Julie.
We are launching a Finding Your Person course. So we think that, finding a person, your person, the right person. Like, I think anyone can find a person. It's all about the right person. It is the biggest predictor of happiness. And there's a reason why we all tune in and ask these dating questions and go through the motions, because ultimately we're trying to find our person. And you and I have been doing this podcast for the last 5 years. We've talked to thousands of daters, just like all of you. And we feel like we've finally cracked the code of what it is. And there's a balance that needs to happen in, the things that we talked about today, the emotional connection, DTR, how to navigate the apps and filter and use all that effectively and not think they're the enemy. Like, all of that stuff is the tools that get you to finding your person.
We are so excited for this course because we've put everything we've learned down into the systematic way so that if you follow it, we have so much confidence that you're going to feel so much love in your life. And one of the guiding principles of this course is that love is abundant and you are worthy of love and never run out of love. The universe just keeps churning out love. And so when you take this course, it will transform your mindset to think in the realm of abundance, but also we give you all these actions and takeaways so that you can implement all these learnings in real life. It's not just all theoretical. It's not just like, woo woo, let's feel it in our chakras. You can. I mean, we talk about that too. But once you feel it in your chakras, how do you use that in your dating life?
Yeah, and if this sounds totally intimidating, then you're actually probably the right place, because I think the people that are sick of attracting the ghosters, the emotionally unavailable people, the people that are giving them kind of the runaround, like, that's who we really want to help with this course. And Yue and I really genuinely believe that this course is going to be the best content we've ever put out, that we just cannot wait to share with all of you.
We are so so proud of this because we've been working on this for over a year. I mean, one silver lining of COVID was that we had the time and focus energy to do so, but we've been working really hard and also just losing some sleep over this. So we really want everyone to benefit from what we've come up with because this is nothing like anything out there. We've read all the books. We've been to all the workshops, listened to all the audiobooks, and this is nothing like that. So I hope you kind of understand that we've taken a different approach to finding your
Yep.
person.
A lot of them are BS, nicely saying it. So we we definitely feel like this is more of a long-term game that's really, we've been there ourselves. I think the other silver lining of the pandemic is we have been able to talk to all of you, like a very direct line of communication to hear exactly what is it that's getting you stuck. So I think with all this knowledge and the year in the making of the course, but the 5 years of the making of building up to that have really like put us in the position that now is the time.
And we just dropped the link into the chat. This is your chance to get on our early bird waiting list because here's the thing with the course also comes a little personal interaction, kind of like this, but small groups on a more frequent basis, and there we can help guide you through this course and also answer any questions you have, kind of like this as well. So we can only take so many people into this course because there's no way we can
No.
do everybody who's interested. Sign up for the early bird wait list. Wow, that's really hard to say. Early bird cuckoo caca wait list right now because you will get first dibs on when our registration opens, and you get first dibs on all of the information of what this course offers.
Yep, and you'll get a free video series too. So totally worth getting on that early bird wait list.
Yay.
Cool.
You've all been so fantastic. Thanks so much for staying open minded, staying open to this process. We always say, you got to stay dateable too, because that's the only way to keep sane. Thanks for the great questions. Check out findingyourperson.com, check out dateablepodcast.com, and we'll be back for more videos.
Should we do a
Never
stay
stop.
dateable together to wrap it up?
Let's do it. On the count of three, all of us, even those of you at home, we're all gonna say stay dateable together. We can hear you. Don't worry about it. We can. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, stay
Stay
dateable.
dateable.